Good morning, or whatever it is, wherever you are. Webcam didn't start up today, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. Maybe just the new OBS version had to kind of register things. Alright, so we got a nice old app here. Probably need to set up some, well, I can set up some dummy data. So this needs the Elm, we can update the Elm version. I'm gonna have to see what kind of, yeah, this had a login over here, but it was able to do stuff without that. So this is gonna have to have the, well, I guess it could default to this screen or something, but really this is all kinds of things will not work without the login tokens. Got a bit of work to do. I think it's going to detect that as a change. All right. So there's the code level where we have to make sure that requests always require the key. And there's the UI level where you can't do anything until we have a key. Or token. The authentication. What are we version? Let's read. I'm going to put off actually converting things. Oh. Yeah, we just won't even have the unauthenticated request rate. And the application will still have to exist in the unknown authentication state. So auth will be a maybe. Trying to remember what we did with all the other things. Basically all of our fetch. Right. These look like they're getting. Okay. So I mean that's accurate enough. Import auth token. So that's definitely conditional. I guess we need to do all of these things. Maybe there could be some use for some types here. Won't help me find stuff now. So fetch followers. model.auth. Expired follows, fetch unknown follows. We kind of have to work this upstream. Well, this is using the model, so that's the point where we encounter that. Although maybe we should make this request streams. Okay, we shouldn't have got this streams response if we don't have auth. And we still have to account for the fact that it's only there. That streams by user IDs. That seems to be all we've got. That takes a maybe. Fetch next user stream batch. Okay, so that's only used in one place. This is called when we looked up the users, or we imported a bunch of streams from a data file. So you could import streams technically without having the ability to fetch them. You just wouldn't be able to do anything. And it actually comes in a couple places. The refresh control simply shouldn't be available, but we still have to deal with what happens. So loaded. So technically, all of this would be dependent on we had a state auth. I think we go back to this, so it may or may not be there. So if the end result of this is that this model, you see, I almost want to do something like I can stick a thing in this chain that's like abortive unauth. But these things, I believe, all expect to get a model. So I don't really have an easy way to do that. It would have to be more like pipe a model to a function, and if it has auth, then we do all of this stuff. Although we've still got this thing going. Well, let's save auth if we've got it. It almost makes me think if I should have like a multi-page style thing going on. Where it's like, we don't even call this update function unless we're authenticated. Hmm. And we've got the data we store ourselves, which might be some of which might be persisted. And we've got the sort of like runtime data, which can only be gotten from the API and would sort of be in that dependent state. Actually, what we get from state here sort of describes what's in that sort of application state that's just us. The easy way to do this is to handle it downstream. So like every place where we interact with model.auth, we have to do a pre-check. Fetch users by ID, fetch videos. This would either be this set of requests or it would be a nothing. You are... These are just low-level requests. Let's see, should this either map the auth or case it? Yeah. You're only used here. Change the type of that function. And for now, our API still wants that. Fetch videos is also only used here. So that one can change. Fetch channel is used in two places. I see a lot of these are responses 2 other requests, at which point we would assume we have authentication. But we still have to handle a type. Auto channel. So this is only fetch the channel if we don't have one. But we also have to be considering the fact that we may not have our authentication here. And a lot of this is changing the model of these applications enough to make me think I'd be doing some higher level if authenticated thing. And the only case where we can do anything here is if it's nothing and have authentication, which means that we actually still need to have all other cases here. Actually, I think that takes care of that. That's one fetch channel. Yeah, this is another message that should probably only be accessible if we were in a fully authenticated state. Append requests. So either we don't make that call, or we convert this into an empty list. And that changes fetch channel, which I don't like the intermediate form we're getting here, where there's lots of cases all over the place. Okay, append request model.auth, fetch channel stream model.auth. Got channel data, and then this wants to see if the stream is up. I almost want to like rearrange all my fetch functions for auth as like the last argument, and then you could have a general purpose send handler. It's like, well, if we have authentication, we can make the request. If we don't, we don't. Okay, so that's going to do fetch channel stream. Fetch channel stream. Oh, right, the upper level thing was a maybe. I was taking care of auth. I guess this is sort of a maybe map too. how does that look? Want a pair? Okay, you wouldn't be able to do a pipeline form with it. You have to do fetch channel, blah, 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 blah. Map 2 would then give you another maybe. You'd still have to do this thing. In argument order, it's actually this. So this is a pending request, so it's still an array. Auth channel. And all other cases are an empty array. I mean, like refresh user streams is going to have a problem. Fetch next user stream is going to have a problem. And this was exactly the same thing. I mean, I guess I could have like append requests for multiple argument types. Or we could have, okay, here's your first argument as our accessor, and here's your second argument as an accessor, and then we apply this method if we have auth and if we have all of the arguments. I haven't actually changed some things yet. Oh, here's the exact same thing again. Auto channel. Oop, we got... Oh, no, yeah, we just changed this a little bit. Fetch channel stream. Okay, model.auth. That's cased, that's cased. That's something else. We covered that one. Covered that one. Oh, but this is a maybe. So some things are going to be maybes and some things are going to be absolutes. That could get a little hairy. Fetch hosting user. only used once. And this is a known, not a maybe, which makes the types for that awkward. I mean, maybe you could set up some kind of accessor that always returned maybe. Make the accessors, you wouldn't be able to use the default ones. And fetch hosting user can be a not maybe. Let's go in here for now. Okay, and then from here, model.auth. Well, there's a map too. It'd be done with default model command. Okay. That's IRC. Fine. Persisted if it's there. This is a case. Do we have any requests that are not which request? I mean, generally, no, I think. So we generally just shouldn't be processing the queue if there's nothing, we can't send anything. Which we're gonna have to look at startup and if we're sending things when we can't send. But that might just not even be a thing. And then we have all of this model to next def. Yeah, now you see the problem with this. We just shouldn't even call this if you can't do the request because it's gonna move stuff from our list. So I mean, we're just kind of blindly doing this. But this function, we've still got a model, and this function has to handle the case that's a maybe, even though it really shouldn't be when we call this. Where I think the model might be off now. But it's like this little change like completely changes the structure of the application, which is frustrating. So arguably some of this stuff just needs to not be called. Fetch next game batch. This is like fetch next, fetch next, fetch next. All the fetch next need to get looked at. Bad thing is, this is something that had authentication. It's just that it used to be able to do anonymous stuff at a lower request rate. Oh, and this might change a few. Fetch users by login. Okay, only called there. Fetch users by stream IDs. Only called there. Fetch games. Only called there. Fetch unknown users by ID. Only called there. Okay, model.auth. Fetch unknown follows is fetch followers. It's called in these two places. It's actually a map, so this is not a case where we could just assessor in. Maybe my, well, technically, sending requests could conceivably be unauthenticated things. Okay, so the difference here is needed versus missing. Already has the if. Okay, and we're back to top. Users by login. Closing bracket. Nothing. Needing. Files. This will probably not work very well. It'll just not do anything. All right, so there are cases where we map over a list to append requests. There are cases where we do one request. There are lots of cases where we append one thing. And sometimes we do one other thing. Now, append requests already takes a model. So there's probably some utility in having that low level. Actually takes over this if I have a end if auth that handles a single argument. And thus far, all of the fetch functions have been auth first, even though this almost wants to turn them into auth last, because that's the one thing that they all have in common. So like for some functions, that's a maybe. User.login is just known at that point. Maybe, that's a maybe. That argument is just known. Another double maybe. Channel. Yeah, so there's the version where it have like a list of things and want to map over fetch those things, like here. Well, no, your list.take. So you actually take an argument. I think there is some cases where we map. We got down here list.map. That's with auth over all of these things. So that would be the argument for doing it the other way. I'm going to take a short break, though. I'll be back in a little bit. Where is Hedwin's specific thing? Why is it not in my inventory? Oops, wrong button. There it is.
Then that should just be consistent. Oh shit, I'm wasting her food. Whoops. See, that's the thing. Because I went by.
Welcome back, everybody. I gotta remember to unmute myself. Yep, let me. A little bit here.
Was it?
All right, so we're seeing this pattern over and over again. But then you have things like this that are like a list. If we left it an array of things, and if all requests became auth last, then you could have append authenticatable or like append unauthenticated requests, and it would just kind of add the auth argument if it was available. We could have an unauth model and an auth model, and then all of that could only be done to an auth model. Which require a lot of sort of rewriting of things to say that, well, yeah, so then there's the problem of if you can log in, you can log out. Ken even said that, well, there's data you can get with auth and there's data you can, and then that only exists in like the auth model. You could get some data and then you could log out. But maybe if you log out, then you should throw all that stuff out because you're not really logged in anymore. It's almost like the app wants to split into like authenticated actions and unauthenticated actions. And authenticated state and unauthenticated state. Which is going to take a bit of trickery to or a bit of work to figure out. We can do append requests where it adds auth if required. Well, I guess if we change it now, then it's not a maybe check if we can later convert things. Right now, append requests is a list of command message. So we can write the append authenticatable requests, unauthenticated requests. Going to be a list of string. They're not commands. You are recs. Pending requests, list.filter. Wait, so this is going the other way now. Set append model.pending requests this. I kind of want to make these comparable. So we've got a list.filter, we've got a list.map. Well, if we're not authenticated, we can't do any of this. This is going to be a list of functions that need to have an argument applied. I don't think there's a handy function for that. And then you're actually last. Oh, you're not nothing. You are model.pending requests. I guess I could go back to call append requests with the result of this. And then that would kind of take care of this step, that step. And this is back to empty list. That's not append. It doesn't need to filter. Becomes a simple That ought to be compilable. But it's only going to apply to functions in the right argument order. Alright, it's Rex now. C might be the wrong. So the only thing that we can apply this to right now is probably going to be fetch self. Which was already checking this. This wasn't a chain. That wasn't the only instance of it. It's compilable. Oh. We're saying auth is just token here. That didn't even really need to be an if. Okay, so that's a 2-argument one, which is a little trickier. And this is where all of our arguments swapped. Oh, and I see that's in the 2. Well, you still swap it. And of course, this is where and the awkward thing here. Well, I guess what I do is I have to give a mean, or I have to log in. I eventually have to do a UI means to force login. Maybe I need to step back and do that. Question is, what can you... There's theoretically a lot of stuff that will happen at appropriate times right now, where we always assumed we could get data, and now when we log in, we're going to have to go back and get all of that data. Okay, so now it should be possible to get something. Check for weird things. All right, so if we do that, we have to swap arguments on you. Yes, we swap that, swap that. Wow. A bunch of things. Unfortunately, this is one of those ones that's just string, string. I guess it did used to be a maybe, maybe. So. That's channel stream. I kind of change our maybe order, or ideal maybe order, although it's going to, yeah. Okay, so login auth, auto channel auth, auto channel. Auto channel. Channel auth, channel auth, channel auth, channel auth. Be compilable. Well, type-wise would always compile. So everywhere we do this, we can theoretically this append and authenticated requests. Now you've still got a case. You've still got a case. Which could be a smaller case. And so most of them were like that, actually. So where was that? Channel. That's channel. Okay. Now fetch channel stream, fetch channel. Fetch channel by itself is from self. Fetch channel stream. Host on channel. The self reference. Will that still happen on a login? Perhaps. So I want to do the self lookup. Port auth. Yeah, on load from here, we do a fetch self. Didn't seem to be any errors there. There's auto channel. That's just a regular fetch channel. Auto channel, auto channel. This would be users by ID and fetch videos, both of which are only used here. Oh. Oh, maybe append. Maybe that's just something never got updated. Append request only returns the model. It's just an older one. Fetch users by ID. Who are going to be a signature change. And fetch users by ID and fetch videos. You're not going to be a signature change. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Why are you not happy with it? I do that for a reason? No, it's still not happy. Oh, because I removed the thing that had the bar on it, because the syntax changed. Gotta put that back. And what event was... Well, that's not an easy one to do while live. So fetch channel. That's a two-parter. One-parter. So it's used in two places. String. All right, so you just get swapped. And you can use that. Well, a list which we don't use that much. That's a two-part thing. That's a two-part thing. Special case. That's a two-part thing. Fetch hosting user is only used in one place. Oh, you did not get swapped. I'll type check. Okay, two-part, 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 special case, two-part. That is doing a map 2, so it's one of those cases. Saving the state. That's a little bit dubious. Let's append requests. Fetch users by login is only used here. That goes to there. Wait, does that make it a list.take? This is one of those cases where I may have to have this be different. Shouldn't you be? No, because there's no map here. Yeah, you're getting a list of things to request one go. And yeah, you get past the model, so you don't have to do it personally. Stream batch. Set streams by user IDs. Used once. And then we've got to kind of double check again. Hmm. Model.auth. Fetch next game batch. Fetch games. Only used there. No, you need the jet. Requests. Unknown users by ID. Only used there. Almost makes me wonder if I should have my own little sub function for this that takes care of some of the known things. And this would just be returning be returning a authenticated request, I guess. Fetch follows. Shows up in a couple places. Well, it's two. Goes in a batch, I guess. Fortunately, it's string. This actually is the list map. Fetch followers. There's the authenticating refresh itself, and that might be everything. And we just got the couple of cases where we're doing of two things. Means we don't necessarily need the argument property. You're just. Now you could still remove the auth from there, do a pen cross, and it's only a single just. So model.auth auto channel. Auto channel. Auto channel fetch channel. Auto channel fetch channel stream. Auto channel fetch channel stream. Auto channel fetch 649. Like 3 cases. That one thing. Oh, actually, and this one is a little peculiar. This is if it is nothing, fetch this. This could go back a little bit more towards what it used to. Now, you would be a little bit of a special case regardless. And it says if it is there. Channel stream. And this is, in fact, kind of doing the same. Pulling the fetching the same thing for pretty much the same purpose. Uh, auto channel. Which auth? So that is a maybe. We could maybe map that to blah 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 blah. We'd still have to provide like an empty array in the case that it wasn't. I mean, maybe map to an array and we could default command and let the downstream maybe take care of it. No, because this needs a function that I can. So that always polls that. Oh, I'm typing off too much today. Okay, so got authenticator requests, startup, exporting. Fetch channel stream. Actually, this is just for append requests. It's depending on. Yeah, this is full auto channeling. Okay, so that is a much more reasonable number of references. Still got pending. We still have to worry about like we just shouldn't even have pending requests if we're. So it's like that entire side of the state is. And one thing that's weird. That I thought I actually had this be a host or array depending on current live status. So what is well, fetch channel stream is to streams for one particular user. So we're just not triggering that right. Are we in? Okay, so yeah, exported is a separate thing. Logged in as. So it thinks we're authenticated. But we don't know if our auto channel. What is controlling that in the model.channel status? Incapable. Channel stream. Channel status equals live. Okay, empty. I didn't see stream login. Maybe right now we're sending that request before we get everything set up because we used to be able to do that. I'm not necessarily going to be able to see what those closures are we? We did see that some went out. And the question is, where does that land relative to our voted? No? We should have loaded everything up so we've got our authentication token. We're not sending it. Oh, got a function now. The only place this covers most of them. Yeah, you weren't being called. That's next host, which, okay, sure. Live poll. You only do if we're enabled. Yeah, host target. Uh, So the fetch self. Should the fetch self end up triggering that? Fetch self does a responsive self. This pulls if it's not known. Well, it fetches channel, which fetch channel might do. Channel stream user.login. That channel stream. Oh. Actually expects the maybe. No. No. Did I put model in there? Okay, so it's aware of that. So that is like a basic-ish update. And I forgot to do elm.json again. I had some notes. So that was notes somewhere. So that takes care of the fact that we can't make a call. Well, there are probably still a bunch of fetch blahs that we have not necessarily updated. More for the function definition. What's start of string? Batch model. Doing fetch next. It's got the model to get the information from. Batch model, streams model. I guess what we really care about is the helix.send call. Higher level things from there. So users auth, IDs auth, login auth, users auth, login auth, game IDs auth, ID auth. Guess I did only look for model.auth, but if you follow that train, that should cover everything. There's still an issue. Where you kind of have this really neutered interface where you can't do for startup. So we like our logins, our login prompt. There's lots of places weren't authenticated to go in and fail to make a bunch of calls. Normally have expected to. Rest doesn't make sense. I'll tab to see if it makes sense. Local 8 have like a 8. What was the view in this one? Is great HTML. It would be a pretty big project to rewrite. Possibly something to defer till later. We need at least some kind of logins. What did we do? Review. Okay, you're not LMUI. Hmm. Okay, so this had a specific mode where it was like display the login here. I think stream credits was LMUI though, so it's not going to be as copyable. Play login. Oh, which either displays it or doesn't display it, so. Oh, case model.auth, yeah. Play footer. Model.login. This is slightly inappropriate there. So yeah, we've got our top level layout, top level column, and then either we've got the actual application or we've got this thick little login prompt. And this one could be awkward because we've kind of got all of this stuff, which if you weren't logged in, you'd want to get to settings to log in that way. You'd want to get to export, dump your data. Just that there's a bunch of functions that would individually with no indication that they wouldn't work. So this is where I was kind of wanting, like, do we separate the application? It's like you almost have to go feature by feature. And have a more in-your-face login prompt. Like streams won't be available. I guess channels is based on data. Games may be based on data. Tags is based on local data. So it's like you kind of have to trace back individual functions and items as to whether they need any API data. Add channel really doesn't make any sense without being logged in. So we could do some, maybe just like disabled. So like the refresh button. That would be an attribute. So is it just... It's going to need to be disabled false too. That seems to be the syntax. File already? I know disabled true would in fact be. Yeah, okay, so you're not clickable. So this would be we're gonna have to be doing a bunch of these auth checks. They depend on the model. Can't just have a simple function. I guess this is a case where a restricted model well, except for the type signature. So you are typed as that, and you return. I think it's going to call it HTML message, even though we don't. This thing doesn't really care what type it's going to say. Oh, this thing returned any type, but you're putting it into a place that requires this type of message, even though this thing doesn't matter. And like the regular HTML things would have to return any type of thing if they don't care. Never quite worked for me to say, oh well, this is a variable type. I could even, having specified that's the only field we care about. Oh, this is not, this is like, well, this would be disabled true or false. So we can actually say disabled false. Or I guess we could even just say disabled if auth equals nothing. Which just becomes disabled model.auth equals nothing. Actually, it's not a case statement, so that's not so bad. But if we're going to be dropping this all over the place. Oh, right, we left our equal sign there. Oh, attribute message, first of all. Probably going to be HTML.attribute. Oh, it actually did accept the don't care message. Okay, so we actually need to see these things that are disabled. we would expect that to not work. We would expect like the entire streams panel to not work. Add channel. It's really the input that's going to be. And of course, we have model, and we have entire model available. I might have to. Probably be some other styling here available. Or this disabled box, the disabled state of this should be a little bit dimmer or something. Auto. Oh, this is like the entire thing. It's getting the entire model. So actually auto host status already has a. So really this is a state. Should be in the main application. Channel stream. Ending. Thing. Fonts. That's the checkbox. I would need this anytime model.auth changes. They have to update. So this is description based on that. If it was pending, it goes to abled, otherwise it's fine. That was pending post. I guess early auto enabled. Pending requests. Offline auto host status equals pending. So it shouldn't get there. But it wasn't able to get there. Disabled, incapable. Actually, I guess disabled is. There's join. We went join. So maybe what I actually have to control is. No, it's already disabled because we haven't gotten into chat. Right, we're not communicating, but we are. I must have converted this to the other WebSockets, but it really shouldn't try to connect. It can't. That's the reconnect event. should be a subscription. Well, let's connecting. It should depend. Port socket connecting. Port socket.open. Socket.close. Where do we this off at? Ah, so that's auto channel status. And we have a channel. So we were logged in, so we got a channel. There's auth again. To most of these cases, and I guess if I log out, I would want something to happen. Although it's going to be very similar to auto channel. Well, a refresh at least stop it from interconnecting. No, it won't. Okay, so that's in the export, but it's not. Where do I? Not logged in. Add the facility to replace the token. Might have to be for later. Export is good. Refresh is good. The streams list probably doesn't make sense. Although that actually comes down to the API requests. Can't manually refresh. Loading that view won't effectively send anything. There's probably more stuff that just gets rid of some things, and we need a login screen of some sort or login prompt. Useless without it. I think, all right, so the RC thing. Admittedly, the page is kind of useless in this state, so you probably wouldn't be sitting there too. Actually logged out. We're there because we got an auto channel. Maybe on log out, we just have to clear that. But how do I set that? Can be in the state. Just user login. That's if we fetched a channel. To fetch channel. Actually, I've got it right here. Channel, stream. Oh, that was word, but not capitalized. Okay. Channel for self. Dot host. I think if it's blank, there's a thing to word in. So probably there's a log out. So it's sort of nice if you like logged out your like bot account. Maybe clear that. Actually, yeah, I don't have a way to set that up, I don't. Or it was already set in this. However, we have not actually logged out. Weird thing. Auto host question. Oh no, host and channel is. All right. Maybe it was just a. All right, that probably can't get set because we're not logged in. It's just a thing there I missed. Yeah. So okay, yeah. So it's just can change it there. And there's no way to clear it. But we added the thing that clears it. So that closed. It was trying to log in without auth. Probably the chat is still not useful without auth. Well, that is actually possible. Monitor stuff. Okay, so it's a setting. Can it clear it? It might be good to have an independent of logout, I'm not sure. I might just want like a clear thing here. There's no way to just do. We still have a thing that says, oh, now you see I'm logged out, and I guess we've got some data cache, something. Maybe because we were logged in, we got the data. Hmm. Can we do anything useful to chat without? I get mainly to track sort of highlight hosting status, but that's about it. I think the idea was that we would never get auto channel set if you weren't logged in. There's no good way to unset. What is the view message for that? Yeah, and you see that's host on channel string, so there's no view way to reset that. Unless we do like some string checking. Yeah, I don't know if there's any. Channel did not find user. That would be if we sent the request and it did not succeed. Which should be the case for a blank. And then there's actual API error, like if we weren't authenticated or whatever. But if this depends on making a request that can't be made, we wouldn't get back to this point. Hmm. Oh, and I've still got a bug log in here. I leave any others lying around? Lots of errors. Maybe I should have a separate little thing for ones that I intend to leave in. think that about covers it. That's still just a really bad. Like, if you load the page, what the heck's going on? It only has to say you have to log in to do anything. Uh, Login prompt, we need better feedback on enabled controls. Kind of part of the login prompt. Like, maybe they just shouldn't even be there. Rather than being disabled. But that could be part of the login, like a login screen. Although potentially, in terms of local data, you could still use that. You could still use that. You could still use that. We haven't said anything. Still do stuff from here. That might still be. All right, a real clear direction. This one still needs a bit of work. And then I think the maps need some updates sometime. I would kind of like to get more of the grid data published. Now, something could be faster because it could add a logged in mode before. That is going to need some kind of backing API. Might be able to do something with like the API gateway with CloudFront for some caching. And then we can see if that's economical to run since there's not really any way to monetize it. I mean, unless you start getting, like feature requests from people that you can kind of see what they actually care about. The other thing we have to look into, not Twitch, is what happens. Okay, I guess in live mode they don't give me the preview page prompt. There's probably some way you could do that. Now, I know there was a way to get over here from the new page, more or less. But it looks like that it's only available offline right now. Because that might actually kind of take over the over. but it is getting on. I want to eat lunch at some point, and I should probably do some moving around. So I'm going to switch over to Stepmania. I'll probably have to actually test the application while I'm offline in case I have to reboot again. Because yay Windows. So that's it for programming. I will be back in a bit if anybody wants to hang out, but if you're just here for coding, thanks for stopping by. I'll go offline a little bit to change settings. I will need a few minutes to set up the mat, and hopefully the program actually starts. And then this is when I'm usually on, and this is this is going to be the big one. I can probably get my little personal thing here to work by just logging in. And I guess there's still maybe a place for that mode, but the one that's actually the Twitch extension, gonna need like an entirely different. Anyway, I'll be back in a little bit. Bye bye, and see you in a bit.